Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Hey Krishna 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 Rakshamam Krishna 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 Pahimam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Alright. Hi Krishna Purva Mataji. Looking a little bit different this week.
Really? Oh, interesting. I wonder why.
Is it something about the discussion we had a couple of weeks ago about shaving heads? I wonder.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I just kept quiet. Yeah, it's so refreshing. I see what you men have been up to, shall I say. Yeah, it's great. It's really easy. Yeah,
It definitely
to
is.
look after. Yeah, it gives you a lot more time for bhakti, that's for sure.
Okay, so hand over to Jay Prakash Prabhu, and then after Apurva will be reading. Oh, we've got quite a few volunteers. Who's number 3?
Yeah, I'm not in number 3.
Shashi will be number 3. Yeah? Okay, cool. Okay, let's begin, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The barriers around an agriculture field sometimes break due to heavy torrents of rain. Similarly, the unauthorized atheistic propaganda in the age of Kali breaks the boundary of the Vedic injunctions. People gradually degenerate to godlessness in the rainy season. The clouds, tossed by the wind, deliver water which is welcome like nectar. When the Vedic followers, the Brahmins, inspire rich men like kings and members of the wealthy mercantile community to give charity in the performance of great sacrifices, the distribution of such wealth is also nectarian. The 4 sections of human society, namely the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Sudras, are meant to live peacefully in the cooperative mode. That is possible when they are guided by expert Vedic Brahmins who perform sacrifices and distribute wealth equally.
Okay. So as we've been doing in previous weeks, we're discussing each of these analogies, comparisons against nature, one by one. So starting with this one, what are the comparisons being made here? Okay, what's the natural example given here?
It's barriers around the agriculture field due to heavy rain, and in Kali Yuga is break the boundary of Vedic injunction.
Yeah, that's right, Mataji. So there's a number of examples that are spun out of this one analogy. So the barriers around an agricultural field. So you can imagine a farming land, and it has gates or a fence around it, or walls. Yeah. And then sometimes due to heavy rain, the fence may break. So that's compared to in the Kali Yuga, which is considered the age of. Does anyone know?
Iron?
The Iron Age, yeah. That's right. Anyone else? What is Kali symptomized by?
No.
Yes? The sound was off there. think Madhavi Mataji was going to.
Yeah,
Satyanarayana Prabhu.
age of coral.
Age of quarrel. Yes. So it said that there's atheistic propaganda in the age of Kali, which means the age of quarrel, in other words. So this age is characterized by quarrel, and that's because of atheism. So atheism is the root problem of the material world, yeah, or godlessness. So Prabhupada says the people gradually degenerate. Thus, people gradually degenerate to godlessness. So in the same way, the barriers of a agricultural field are broken. People become godless. So then the rain is like, what is the rain like? The torrents of rain. So something has to happen for people to become godless. So the godless people are like the field. There's lots of crops on the field. They become overflooded with this godlessness because the gates are broken. So who represents the gates? Or what represents the gates?
Religious principles.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So religious principles, some people see them as restrictions or obstructive in the way of people's freedom. Yeah, that's the teaching of atheistic people. That's the atheistic propaganda. Yeah. So here is mentioned that the atheistic propaganda is like the heavy rain. It's so heavy, the teachings of atheism in the modern day. Now it comes under the name of secularism. Secularism means what? Has anyone heard that term before? Secularism. Yes? No? Might have
Is
heard
it
it, but not really known what it is.
people who just want to say that their religion is better, their caste is better, they not seeing individual as souls.
It's kind of the
Everybody
opposite of that, actually.
is that
It's yeah. So instead of pushing one religion forward and saying this is what it's going to be, of course, in some places in the world it is like that. For example, in the Middle East might be one place where there's one predominant religion and you follow that. That's almost the law, That's the standard. But secularism, what does that mean? So in the most part of the world, it's secular now.
France is very secular. It means that you can't be openly religious, like you can't really wear symbols, or you're not really allowed to preach or speak about your religion. It's that you're allowed to do it in your home, but publicly you're not allowed to express your religion or your beliefs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a pretty good definition, that one. Thank you. So yeah, it's basically not advocating any religion, not siding with one religion, or being equal to all religions, but not allowing religion to come, to be in the mainstream. So yeah, France is a good example, and they've had so many problems of that in recent times, right? Even last year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard something in the news about that. Do you remember? I don't exactly
Well, there's
remember.
been a lot about wearing the burqa, and then I can't remember what it was. I think it was Charlie Hebdo, or there's all sorts of things that have happened in France. Sort of religious extremists, and I think that's perhaps what's motivated it, which is such a pity because it destroys it for everyone, really. For people that want to gently spread Krishna consciousness, it's up against terrorism, for example. Sort of anyone who takes part in terrorism. It's not specific, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in particular, they kind of fight against the Muslim community, is affected very much by secularism in France. So the point here is that this secular idea is basically atheistic, just in another guise, to say that we don't accept, we don't what's the word? We don't propagate any given religion. In other words, they're just saying we don't allow any other religion. We don't allow any religion. So that's basically like an atheistic propaganda. And in schools, you know, they can't allow you to be openly religious and so on. So that's becoming more and more predominant. And so this type of thinking, it degrades people to godlessness. So even people of faith, there's a certain stigma, you know. Like how many men do you see walking around in the dhotis, devotees, for example? It's very uncommon, you know. Although in some communities, because of the strength and because of the faith of the people and the and, you know, the encouragement, I guess, you see that they do wear their traditional clothes, you know, like the Jewish community, for example, you know, they're quite openly religious. So it's interesting. So this affects different types of people who follow the Vedic religion. So it's said there's 4 classes of people, 4 sections of society Prabhupada talks about, okay? And so they each have different particular responsibilities. And who are the 4 sections of society mentioned here? Can anyone say? Yes?
Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras.
Right. Is that what you were going to say as well, Shashi Mataji? Yeah. Okay, thank you both. Yeah, that's right. So they each have their particular duties in society. But in the modern day, this is very much misunderstood. Prabhupada describes that here they're meant to live peacefully in a cooperative mood. He also gives the example in other places of how the different parts of the body work together. Yeah. So you have the head, you have the arms, you have the abdomen, the belly, and then you also have the legs. So you have the head, the arms, the belly, and the legs. And different parts of the body, they all have to cooperate together. The legs has to go and get the food. The head has to think about how to cook it. The arms have to feed the belly. And the belly has to provide nutrition to the rest of the body. So they all work, all the parts of the body work in the different roles cooperatively. Prabhupada explains it that way. So in the same way, there are different sections of human society which can all work together in their respective roles. Not that one is better than another, although there's generally accepted that the priests or the brahmanas are the leaders of the society. So that kind of thinking is also gone, or that kind of way of life has also gone, because of atheistic propaganda. So then it just becomes about caste consciousness, which is something very different. And so what are some of the problems that are there in caste consciousness? Can you think of any examples? Do you know what I mean by caste consciousness? Maybe if you're from an Indian background, you may be more familiar.
I think
Yes?
the caste
Shashi
consciousness is,
Mataji?
okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to say that the differences between acknowledging the differences between the castes and not actually seeing people in the same light.
Say that again, sorry. The differences between?
Is it, sorry, what was your question again? Because I've forgotten.
So what is caste consciousness?
Is it just being aware and differentiating between different castes and not treating people the same?
Not treating people the same, yeah. Could you even say it's not treating people fairly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any thoughts? Mum, did you want to add something?
Thinking of in similar lines as Sashi Mataji, that
Yeah.
there used to be caste consciousness very predominant in India, but it's not so much as now. Before, like, if you were, I wouldn't say Shudra, but if you were, they used to call untouchable. So if you were amongst the untouchable caste, you were not allowed into certain universities and certain schools, and like they only did the chores or the jobs which nobody else did. So it was quite predominant in India like that. And the Brahmanas, they used to think themselves of being very high, although they were not acting as Brahmanas.
Yeah. Does this sound familiar to anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to add something, Archana Mataji?
No, I was just saying similar thing that each caste had their own duty to do, but then they're higher and lower classes. And as Mataji said that Sudra was the lowest one and untouchable, and they had to do the road cleaning and street cleaning jobs, I think. I don't know if I'm wrong. And also people won't trust them and won't allow them in certain areas in certain parts. That's why I could be wrong there.
Okay, so the next question would be a similar theme. What would be how do you see the difference between what I explained from the way Prabhupada teaches us about what's called Varna Ashram, which is actually the true definition of different castes, versus this modern kind of caste consciousness? What's the main difference there then? In other words, what's the difference between what goes on today in the name of these different sections of society, and how would that have been different in previous times?
Is it that we're moving away from the caste system now?
Now meaning now, yeah. These days, yeah, it practically doesn't exist. The society isn't split into different types of duties. Yeah, that's true. Anything else?
Anyone
How about
any profession?
anyone can do
You're not
anything.
tied to your profession anymore.
Yeah,
According to your caste, you're able to do whatever you're able to achieve.
whatever you can do. Yeah. I think more. If I just define my question more clearly, what's the difference between this kind of what Prabhupada describes as a cooperative mood? So these castes, or let's say these classes of people working together cooperatively, compared to what's happened in recent times, with people claiming caste and position and so on.
I'm not sure if I'm right, but I think Prabhupada's teaching is that caste, it's not where you're born, it's what your not nature, but how you act. So, like you see, a Brahmana should be having cleanliness. He should be having all this tolerance. He should be having all the knowledge to pass on to other people. The Kshatriya should be, like a king, but he should be able to look after the praja. So in this time and age, there are no proper Kshatriyas or no proper Brahmanas. So according to Prabhupada's teaching, it also goes onto your nature. So um, if I
Okay, so
understand
people
it
are not
correctly,
following their particular
their
duty,
nature,
yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
So
Urmila Mataji,
that's
yeah. In Urmila Mataji's classes, you hear a lot about doing doing the jobs according to your nature, rather than thinking, okay, I'm a Brahman, I should do these things.
right.
Nature is saying you're a Kshatriya, then you should be doing that sort of things. Like, yeah,
Okay.
understanding from
So
Prabhupada.
what I'm trying to get to, so that's also true, yeah. So people, if they're claiming to be a a Brahmin, the so-called Brahmin, then do they actually know how to do yagyas? Are they doing that for a living? Do they know how to teach Shastra? Are they doing that for a living? Or in the name of a Brahmin, they're, working in some IT software company, as a businessman, in the name of Brahmin, because, their grandfather, their great-grandfathers were Brahmins. That's one thing, yeah. So there's maybe I'll just bring this point out then. There's a key thing missing in the kind of caste consciousness there is today, and the social structure, the varnashram structure, which existed in previous times. There's a key difference in why it worked. It worked for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, until very recent times. Recent times meaning, in recent generations, let's say the past couple of 100 years. Yeah? So before our time, and before our grandparents' time, that key difference is godlessness. The key difference is atheism. Yeah? So people are adhering to a certain caste, or even performing or not performing the duties of that caste, nevertheless. But the key feature that's actually missing was that we are all part of the body of society for serving God. And when God is removed from the center of the society, of the body of society, when God is removed from the social structure, then all of this falls apart. Because then there's no central, there's no goal, there's no there's nothing that unites everyone towards a central goal, to serve Krishna. Through everyone's different social functions, they could serve Krishna. Just like in the example of a body, it's not that you can say the head is important, therefore I don't need the hands. The hands are important, therefore I don't need the legs. The belly is the most important, otherwise nobody eats. If that kind of thinking is there, that my role is important, then all of the other functions suffer, you see. So for someone to say, I'm a Brahmin, we don't need anyone, we don't need the Kshatriyas, or the Kshatriyas say we don't need the Shudras, or the Shudras say we don't need the Vaishyas, and so on. Because there's dissensions, there's disunity, it doesn't work. So godlessness causes that disunity. Yeah. So it's a big topic, and it may come back again and again as we discuss the Krishna book.
Everyone's so focused on independence, isn't it? And it's an illusion, really. We're so interdependent. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So there's actually, the whole system is meant for interdependence. Just like the body, different parts of the body depend on each other. That's exactly the point, yeah. Nicely summarized. So does that make sense? Does anyone have any comments or?
Yeah, also Brahmanas are not respected by others because they don't have a quality, Brahminical qualities.
That's right, yeah. Similar to what my mom was saying. So
Yeah,
they don't live up to the qualities.
They're supposed to chant Gayatri, and many of the Brahmanas, they don't.
Yeah. Perhaps many of them don't even know the Gayatri. Yeah. And then similarly, like with the duties, with the Kshatriyas are supposed to be monarchs. They're supposed to be leaders, kings, heads of state, right? So the reason this worked in the previous times is because, the children were brought up in an environment where they knew where they were going in life, and whereas these days, the parents haven't had that training, and then they let the children do what they want to do as well in life, and then at the same time they want to hold on to these different titles, that I'm a Brahmin, or I'm a Kshatriya, or I'm a Vaishya. So they want to hold on to these different titles at the same time, and that doesn't really work. So therefore the age of Kali is known the age of quarrel, because of these things. So people quarrel over these different positions.
Is the other one ignorance or is it hypocrisy? Quarrel and
Hypocrisy.
hypocrisy. Okay.
Yeah, there's two symptoms. So because there is hypocrisy, then people quarrel. Because people are saying, I'm this, but they're not actually, someone says, I'm a Brahmin, but I smoke and drink, then that's not actually the definition of a Brahmin, although your family may be coming from that line, that lineage, because you haven't been trained that way, like your forefathers. That's hypocrisy. And therefore there's quarrel. So the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Okay, so in former times this was actually the standard around the world, that people would live happily and in harmony under this social structure. Now we can go on to the next paragraph, unless there's any other comments or questions.
I'd like to share something. Like
Yes.
in the 70s, when this sort of people were coming and doing kathas and all that, that Morari Bapu was, as far as I remember, there might be somebody else and Prabhupada, but after that, came to do Ram Katha, and then he said in his first one, which I attended, he said that, what do you expect of your children when the children, for children, the fridge is the mother and the TV is the father. Leave them home, just go after money, and they just put the stuff in the fridge so they can get it out, warm it up in microwave. It's their servant, Aya, microwave, and the TV is father, so they just watch TV all day when they're home. What do you expect them? So you need to give them time. Parents need to give them time to have a culture to carry on. And really remember that always.
That's a really shocking statement, isn't it?
I was so shocked when he came. He said, when I came here, I was shocked when I was living in one of the houses. That is what I know. The first thing. Is this what you came for here?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really good message to everyone.
Eye-opening.
Yeah.
Even I remember someone asked a question to, I don't know, you have heard the name Ramesh Bhai Oja. He's also a great Kathakar. And someone asked him a question. He said, how do I do bhakti? How I start bhakti? And Ramesh Bhai Oja said, just be straightforward. That's the beginning of bhakti.
Yeah, simplicity.
Simplicity. Honesty.
Yeah, honesty.
Honesty. And that will lead you to bhakti.
Nice point, yeah. So we'll move on to the next paragraph then, with Jay Prakash Prabhu reading, please.
Vrindavan forest improved from the rains and was replete with ripened dates, mangoes, blackberries, and other fruits. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his boyfriends, Lord Balram, entered the forest to enjoy the new seasonal atmosphere. The cows, being fed by new grasses, became very healthy, and the milk bags were all very full. When Lord Krishna called them by name, they immediately came to him, out of affection, and in their joyful condition the milk flowed from their bags. Lord Krishna was very much pleased when passing through the Vrindavan forest by the side of Govardhan Hill. On the bank of Yamuna, he saw all the trees decorated with beehives pouring honey. There were many waterfalls on Govardhan Hill, and their flowing made a nice sound. Krishna heard them as he looked upon into the caves of the hill. But the rainy season was not ended completely, but was gradually turning to autumn. Sometimes, especially when there was rainfall within the forest, Krishna and his companions would sit under a tree within the caves of Govardhan Hill and enjoying eating the ripened food and talking with great pleasure. When Krishna and Balram were in the forest, Mother Yashoda used to send them some fruits, sweetmeats, and rice mixed with yogurt. Krishna would take them, sit down on a slab of stone on the bank of the Yamuna, and call his friends to join him. When Krishna and Balram and their friends were eating, he watched the cows, calves, and bulls. The cows appeared to be little tired from standing with their heavy milk bags. By sitting and chewing grass, they became happy, and Krishna was pleased to see them. He was proud to see the beauty of the forest due to the rainy season, which was nothing but the manifestation of his own energy. At such times, Krishna would praise nature's special activities during the rainy season. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the material energy or nature is not dependent in its actions. Nature is acting under the superintendence of Krishna. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, which states that material nature, known as Durga, is acting in the shadow of Krishna. Whatever order is sent from Krishna, material nature obeys. Therefore, the natural beauty created by the rainy season was acted out according to the indications of Krishna, who thus felt very proud of material nature's beautiful activities.
It's a very beautiful paragraph here, isn't it? Giving a very nice and detailed description of the atmosphere of autumn in Vrindavan. Of course, in Vrindavan, autumn isn't like the autumn we experience here at all. They have what's called a monsoon season, so actually is more like a season of heavy rain. So it's actually quite warm. At the same time, there's a lot of rain, so it drives a lot of vegetation and growth. So what nice things did you like about this paragraph? Would anyone like to share? There's so much there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Smita Mataji.
I like the first bit where it says that the very first that Lord Krishna, along with the boyfriends and Balaram, entered the forest to enjoy the seasonal atmosphere. I think that's nice because it sort of sets the way, like everything's the fruits are ripened and Krishna and Balram, they're just going to absorb the whole atmosphere. So I do like that very first bit when they want to enjoy with their friends.
Yeah, actually that's what Vrindavan is all about. That's the essence of it. Everything is there for the enjoyment of Krishna in Vrindavan. Everything or everyone, let's say, is playing their part so that Krishna can enjoy. So that's the essence of Vrindavan. And Vrindavan doesn't have to be a physical place, actually. Vrindavan can be even in our own home if we arrange everything in such a way that it's centered around Krishna. Now, it may not look lush and green like this, and that's an external feature. But if everything is there for the enjoyment of Krishna, then the place is as good as Vrindavan. Yeah, nice points, Smita Mataji.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just to say, Krishna's just the sweetest. I'll just be quick, but it's like he empowers, he controls everything, but then he still gives credit to the personality. It's like the end, who thus felt very proud of material nature's beautiful activities. It's just so sweet, and just everything around him, it just bursts with abundance and joy. wherever he goes, the cows are filled with milk, the honey, pouring honey. What else? Yeah, all of the mothers bringing their treats. Mother Yashoda bringing her treats. I think it's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, it's like the conclusive parts of this paragraph, isn't it? The conclusive sentences here. So this is the thing, when everything works according to Krishna's will, then it all goes so nicely. Huh? So this is why it's explained that if we follow the natural system given by Krishna, the natural system of living, the Varna Ashram system, if everyone acts according to their duties, then everything goes so nicely in the world. But today people are so far away from that culture of having a Krishna-centered lifestyle or community or society or nation, that you can literally see the havoc it's causing around the world today. Let's take the coronavirus, for example. Where did the coronavirus come from? Back in 2019.
China.
China?
Okay, but specifically where where did it come? Wuhan. And where in Wuhan?
I don't
Did it just sort of spring up?
Animal market,
the wet market.
And the market, yeah.
On the animal market, on the wet market, yeah. And what happens at that market?
Bats.
Sorry?
They sell bats.
They sell bats. Why would you want to sell bats?
Eating.
For eating.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. You're speaking to us from outer space. It's hard to hear you.
That was the point. That's what I wanted to do today. Took me a
Okay.
while to join. That's the reason.
Picking the perfect background. Far away from here. Far away from Wuhan and the coronavirus. So, yeah, so you can see the further away you move from the Vedic culture, the more harmful it is to oneself, to one's community, society, one's nation, and the world. So vegetarianism is such a key principle in the Vedic culture. It was practically unheard of that people would eat meat in the thousands of years ago when the Vedic culture was actually around the world. It was almost unheard of that people would eat meat. And then if you take it to the other extreme, like what was happening in Wuhan in just over a year ago, you'd have these type of markets which give rise to such horrible diseases, killing millions of people around the world, causing havoc. So the principles of Krishna consciousness, they're very simple and straightforward. They're as it says here, Krishna, he couldn't really appreciate the beauty of nature as the way it's made it. Nature can actually be so beautiful, even bats. So everything has its place in nature, but if we distort, or if we manipulate, or if we try to, as Prabhupada says, lord over nature, if we try to manipulate nature in that way, it's not supposed to be, then it causes havoc. Yeah. So I turned it on a slightly sour note from where we started. But so one of the beautiful things about Vrindavan is, as I said here, Krishna was appreciating the nature of Vrindavan. Vrindavan, everything served Krishna, and Vrindavan is the shape of a lotus. It's said that Vrindavan is in the shape of a beautiful lotus. In that, and if you see lotus flowers at night, they contract. and in the day they expand. Yeah? Has anyone had that fortune to see the lotus? Yeah? And it's a flower which closes and opens. So the beauty of Vrindavan is that if Krishna wants to go to some far place on the other side of Vrindavan with his cows and with his friends, the dham actually closes and then it opens and allows Krishna to be on the other side. So this is like the magic of Vrindavan. This is how Vrindavan serves Krishna, Vrindavan Dham. And Krishna can experience different seasons, different foods, different climates, because Vrindavan is there for serving him, for serving his enjoyment. And what's Krishna's enjoyment? His enjoyment is to see that everyone else is happy. And therefore the cows are happy, the animals, all the animals are happy, his friends are happy, his relatives and so on. So who wouldn't want to go to such a place as Vrindavan? It's so sweet. Would anyone else like to share in this paragraph?
I just wanted to share something reminding about Krishna having lunch with the Gopas. So if you go to some places in Vrindavan, it's still you can still see there is one place where you can see where they used to have lunch, and this place the stones have turned into bowls, and like you can still see footprints of Krishna where he used to this is on the rocks itself, and it's a beautiful place where they sat down and had picnics. So there were so many stones which are turned into a shape of bowls where they would put the food in and eat, and sometimes they used to use the leaves and make the bowls and like eat the prashadam in there. So it's like so beautiful how they used they used to have picnics in Vrindavan.
Yeah, so natural, isn't it? Vrindavan's beauty.
And there's
So as
still
it's,
signs where Krishna had spent his pastimes. Even today, you can go and see these places. Yeah.
yeah. So Vrindavan it has a very natural beauty, huh? It's not like the beauty that people admire in the cosmopolitan or metropolitan cities. The things that we chase after, like plastic gadgets and shiny cars and all this type of thing. So it's very natural beauty, and because it's so connected with Krishna, it has a natural propensity to bring happiness, natural capacity in Vrindavan to give happiness. Okay, so let's move on. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, all good things were happening in Vrindavan because number one is Krishna was there. Someone can say Krishna is everywhere, but we don't, other places, they don't realize Krishna is there. And another thing, because of the purity.
Yeah, that's a really amazing point, yeah. So like just coming from the previous paragraph, because of atheism in this day and age, it just means people have lost sight of God. Whereas here you can see everyone is in Vrindavan so conscious of Krishna, everything goes really nicely for them. So it's not that Krishna is not somewhere anymore. It's not that Krishna is absent from the world, but the world has decided to become absent from Krishna. So we can have that Vrindavan, even if it's in our own home, and even if it's in our own heart, we can have it. It's there for the taking. Krishna is there for the taking. Krishna wants to be with us more than we want to be with him. Unfortunately, that's the way it is right now. But it doesn't have to be. So Krishna, he wants to be with us so much, and therefore he comes in this avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gives us the holy name. So we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we can call Krishna back. We can call Krishna back to our heart, to be the king of our heart, the Lord of our heart.
apart from Vrindavan, people wanted to live independently and in their way, not Krishna's way.
People like to be independent, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it actually possible to be independent? What does it mean to be independent? Like
with own speculation?
I mean, just a common, just like a common person, when they say I want to be independent, what, if we actually discuss with people, what does it mean to be independent? How is the response? What's the typical answer?
Have free will, and that's what people want to be able to do anything and everything. But this is Krishna's world, Krishna's universe. It is not possible to have complete free will, as Krishna gives us a choice.
So what free will do people want? What is the free will? I'm just going to play devil's advocate with you, since you spoke up.
To be able to be in charge of one's own life, and whatever they want, get that. So in our material life, we have lots of material desires based on our sense gratifications.
But has anyone got what they wanted ever? Has anyone always got what they wanted?
Again, temporarily, but the only problem is with material desires, the more you get, there is no saturation point. The more you get, the more you want. Whether it's food or wealth or anything, even in happiness, you just keep wanting more. So the answer is no. So temporarily, yes, but in reality, no.
Yeah, so people want independence, but actually there's no such thing as independence. It's actually an illusion, as you said, Panchali. So yeah, it's actually not possible to be independent. Actually, we're always dependent, We're always dependent on so many others. Even if someone is fabulously rich and wealthy, he's dependent on his workers coming in and doing their job the next day. He's dependent on his household, maids and so on to come in and maintain his home. He's dependent that the bank is not going to shut down and his money is going to be lost. He's dependent that he goes to the petrol station and there's petrol in the petrol station so he can drive his fancy cars. Nobody's actually independent. Nobody's actually independent. Everybody is dependent, isn't it? So this is an illusion that the material world is pushing us towards. Pushing us towards. You can be independent. You can be happy. You can enjoy this world. But it's actually a great illusion.
We are not independent because I just forgot the. Anyway, nothing wrong with the free will because it's given by Krishna. But to use free will or to misuse free will, that's up to us, isn't it?
It's a very good point, Prabhu, yeah. Free will,
that's what's happening in the world, misusing the free will.
Yeah. So Krishna has created a system by, if we use our free will according to his way, according to his desire, then there's a lot of benefit. But if we use our free will, let's say whimsically, I know best. If we think that if we know best how to use our free will, then we can be in for potentially a lot of trouble. So someone may say, well, that's just cheating, really. Krishna gives you free will and then he makes you do what he wants. Right? Is that really free will? But actually, yes, because Krishna's position is that he's He's God. He's the Supreme Lord. But he's not an insidious God. Krishna is not a cruel God. We should understand that Krishna is a loving, merciful, he's the most beautiful, attractive person. And he's giving us a way to be happy. But he doesn't force us. And if we don't want to follow, we don't have to, but then we have to suffer the consequences of that. So therefore, that's what it means by using free will in the wrong way. Krishna is giving us a way to be happy if we are faithful to it and if we follow it.
So
And God, Krishna promises that we'll be happy.
Yeah. Krishna gives us free will. Same time, he's telling us how to use free will.
Yeah. And even within that scope, because you have basically two spheres of activity. You can do things the way Krishna wants, you can do things the way that you want. People often think, well, I can do things in so many different ways. If I do things in Krishna's way, it's very narrow and minimal, but that's actually not the case. Actually, there's such a large scope to serve Krishna, people don't know. They simply don't know. Someone may want to serve Krishna as a pujari, serving on the altar. Someone may want to speak about Krishna. Someone else may want to do some, practical. Let's say we have Jay Prakash Prabhu who does accounts here, so he serves the temple with some capacity as well. So like in different ways, people are serving Krishna. It's not that we have to do something different. No, we do what we do, but the desire is to serve Krishna with what we're doing rather than serving oneself. It's only a change of who is the enjoyer. If Krishna is the enjoyer, then we'll be happy. So this is all it means by having free will, using free will in the right way. We have to choose Krishna. Put Krishna first. Is that what you were coming to, Prabhu?
Yeah, I remember I couldn't use that. I couldn't remember that word. It was, yes, we cannot do anything independently because we are conditioned.
That's it, yeah. We're not independent because we're conditioned, or we're covered over.
Yeah.
Condition means we're covered over. The soul is covered over by all these material impressions. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Alright, so let's continue on. Let's have our second reader. I'm just conscious we haven't gotten so far today. But it's nice to have the discussions all the same, isn't it? Who's the next reader? Couldn't remember. Apurva, would you like to read? Okay.
Oh, who was for? I just put number 2, so I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Haribo. While Krishna and Balaram were enjoying the gifts of the rainy season in this way, the autumn season gradually arrived, when all the water reservoirs became very clean and when pleasing and refreshing air blows everywhere. With the appearance of autumn, the sky was completely cleared of all clouds, and it recovered its natural blue. The blooming lotus flowers in the clear water in the forest appeared like persons who have fallen down from yoga practice but have again become beautiful by resuming their spiritual life. Everything becomes naturally beautiful with the appearance of the autumn season. Similarly, when a materialistic person takes Krishna consciousness and spiritual life, he also becomes as clear as the sky and water in autumn.
So this leads on nicely from the point which Satyanarayan Prabhu just made about being conditioned in life, yeah? Being conditioned in life. So this really talks about that. So what's the point being made here? Just an open question. So which type of people are being spoken of here?
Hare Krishna. The spiritual people who take spiritual life.
That's right, yeah. Okay. And what are these people, these yogis, what are they compared to?
The sky.
The sky, yeah, is one
And
example.
the lotus flowers in the clear water as well.
Yes, that's the second one. So these yogis, and this is actually quite a broad definition. If we understand more about the life and teachings of Srila Prabhupada, then we can understand Prabhupada considered everybody to be Krishna conscious by nature. Yeah, Prabhupada's teachings is that we are all spirit soul, we're all Krishna conscious by nature. Every spirit soul, every living person, every living being is naturally, originally Krishna conscious eternally. That's the dharma, or that's the actual constitution of the soul. That's actually the very nature of the soul, to have a loving relationship with God. And with that vision, Prabhupada went to America to revive that Krishna consciousness within people's hearts. Yeah. So I find this very interesting because Prabhupada, he naturally saw that everybody is a devotee of God. He naturally saw that everyone is a yogi. Everyone is actually a transcendental being, a spiritual being. But we've just simply forgotten that. Such was Srila Prabhupada's faith. He could see that in every single person. And so then what was his mission? What was the mission of Srila Prabhupada in connection with this example here? So what's the example?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
To spread Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada's mission was to spread Krishna consciousness. Yeah, that's right. So if he had this view that everyone was a yogi, or everyone was Krishna conscious by nature, then what was his role in helping them?
So his role was to, just like the sky, when cleared of the dark clouds, becomes pure and clear. So his role was to remove the layer or the layers of dirt from around the spirit soul, which he knew was present in all human beings. So by arising or by giving them the taste of Krishna consciousness, he wanted to clear that circle of dirt from around the souls, the pure souls.
That's exactly it, yeah. So yeah, Prabhupada, he wanted to, if I could just summarize what you said, he wanted to revive people's God consciousness, you know? He wanted to remove all the things which made them forget about Krishna, so that they come back to their natural state of loving Krishna. And that didn't mean they had to do something else, like we said before. They just do what's in their nature, but they do it for Krishna. That's Prabhupada's mission. So here, Prabhupada was as powerful as the autumn season. Yeah, like Prabhupada was a pure instrument of Krishna. Because the autumn season, it cleared away the clouds in the sky, so that the sky was clear blue. The autumn season, it helped the lotus flowers bloom again. Yeah, because like when you see flowers and they're wilting, they're falling over into the water, dying away. So this is the condition of the world when there's a lack of Krishna bhakti. Yeah. So Prabhupada's mission, his movement, was all about reviving that dormant love for God in the heart, reminding people of who their eternal master and Lord is, Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada used to say, before you become Krishna conscious, you be conscious.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, because if you are not conscious, then you cannot understand Krishna conscious policy.
Yeah. And so what do we have to be conscious about?
So you have to be in a right conscious, doing right thing, Krishna's way.
Yeah, we should know what we are meant to be doing.
Instead of saying Krishna's way means Krishna conscious, but favorable way or natural.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what I understood as well.
Yeah.
From that. Yeah, that's a really good point. Did everyone catch that? So if we know what we're supposed to be doing with our life, with our day-to-day activities, if we're conscious of who I am and what I should be doing, then it's very easy to connect that to Krishna. Yeah, it's very easy to connect what my duties are, what my desires are, what my hobbies and what my likes are, what my activities are. Basically, if I know what they should be and what makes me happy, and I do it for Krishna, then life becomes very simple and successful. And that's why that Varna ashram system was there, because people would just work according to the natural proclivities and natural what was very natural for them to do. But these days we have to spend so much time and we have to invest so much time and energy in developing skills and qualities to perform roles which perhaps don't even fit us very well. Has anyone ever had that experience before? Huh? It's been such a time-consuming thing, isn't it? Yeah. So Prabhupada's emphasis was that if we are conscious, then we can very easily become Krishna conscious or God conscious very easily. Because then there's not so much hard work in trying to figure out who am I and what am I trying to do with my life. That's already there. I'm already doing something with my life which works. I just have to offer it to Krishna.
I give you a very simple example. If, for example, you are doing something and your mind is somewhere else, means you are not conscious.
Yeah.
And that's why you make mistake as well.
And that's the result of not doing something that one can really become engrossed in, one can really become absorbed in. If our mind and heart isn't in there, then because we're not trained in that way, then it's very difficult to give our life to that activity. What to speak of then offer that to Krishna. So this is the purpose of Guru, actually. This is the purpose of Guru. So spiritual master isn't like an ordinary teacher, because ordinary teacher can teach you skills and give you knowledge, yeah? But a spiritual master teaches you who you are and how you can use them to serve Krishna. So therefore, yes, Prabhu?
My Guru Maharaj always used to say, Krishna conscious means take Krishna and give Krishna.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
That must be your business.
Yeah.
In one of the other classes, I heard that in this life we only have two main duties: to always remember Krishna, and I think you taught us, didn't you? To always remember Krishna and to never forget Krishna. Those are the two main duties we have in this life. I think you taught us, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you for adding that. Yeah, so Krishna consciousness can be very simple. All the rules are there so that we can remember Krishna, and all these regulations which we follow, which we don't always like to follow, let's say, they're just there so that we don't forget Krishna by doing things we shouldn't be doing. So yeah. Okay, so unless there's any comments or questions, we could move on. Who's our third reader today, this evening? Shashi's our third reader, I think, no? Are you still with us, Shashi?
I am, Prabhu.
Yes.
I'm not feeling very well, so I don't mind if Panchali goes.
Okay, no problem at all.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you want to go ahead then, Panchali?
Yeah, is that okay, Mataji? Yeah, okay. All right. The autumn season takes away the rolling of dark clouds in the sky, as well as the polluted water. Filthy conditions on the ground also becomes cleansed. Similarly, a person who takes to Krishna consciousness immediately becomes cleansed of all dirty things within and without. Krishna is therefore known as Hari. Hari means he who takes away. Krishna immediately takes away all unclean habits from anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness. The clouds of autumn are white, for they do not carry any water. Similarly, a retired man being freed from all responsibility of family affairs, namely maintaining the home, wife, and children, and taking completely to Krishna consciousness, becomes freed from all anxieties and looks as white as clouds in autumn. Sometimes in autumn, the falls come down from the top of the hill to supply clean water, and sometimes they stop. Similarly, sometimes great saintly persons distribute clear knowledge, and sometimes they are silent. The small ponds, which were filled with water because of the rainy season, gradually dry up in autumn. As for the small aquatics living in the reservoirs, they cannot understand that their ponds are diminishing day by day, just as the materially engrossed persons cannot understand that their duration in life is being reduced day by day. Such persons are engaged in maintaining cows, property, children, wife, society, and friendship. Due to the reduced water and scorching heat from the sun in the autumn season, the small creatures living in small reservoirs of water are very much disturbed. They are exactly like uncontrolled persons who are always unhappy from being unable to enjoy life or maintain their family members. The muddy earth gradually dries up and newly grown fresh vegetation begins to wither. Similarly, for one who has taken to Krishna consciousness, desire for family enjoyment gradually dries up.
So there are several analogies now in this paragraph, which we can try to skim through in the time we have remaining. Yeah. So maybe I can try and pick out a few, and then we can just discuss any key points. That way we should be able to cover them. And feel free to add, because I don't think I got all of them myself. But here the first one I've picked out is how the filthy conditions of the ground become cleansed is similar to how Krishna, he cleanses our heart. He steals all the dirty things away from our heart. And this is actually what the word, which name of Krishna is given to that which name of Krishna is given for that feature?
Hari.
Ari.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So we are often saying this, right? Hari Bol. Yeah, but many times we may not even actually think what it means, isn't it? Hari Bol. Okay, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, everyone. Hello, goodbye. Yeah. But if we really knew what it meant, we have a very different approach to saying Haribol. Huh? Chant the name of Hari. Bol means to say or to speak or to chant. Chant Hari's name. Why? Because he's going to come and steal from you. He's going to come and steal all the dirty things in your heart. Haribol. So this is what we're wishing. We're wishing for ourselves and we're wishing for others. That Hari comes just like he does in the house of Mother Yashoda, steal butter from all the houses of the gopis. So may Hari come and steal all the unwanted things in our heart. So that's the first one. Any thoughts on that?
Prabhuji, there are so many. Are there quite a few? Are there multiple meanings of the word Hari?
This is there is a few other ones as well, but this is the principal one. And the Skanda Puran, the same definition is given as well for Hari. Hari also means lion, that Krishna is lion-like. So like for Lord Nrsimhadev, sometimes Lord Nrsimhadev is known as Nara Hari, half man, half lion. Nara means like a human, half lion. Yeah. So there's other meanings as well. But this is the principal meaning there. One who steals. He who takes away. So then the next one is given of the clouds of autumn, which are white because they don't carry water. I found this quite humorous. The clouds of autumn are white. Yeah, almost because they're carefree. They don't have to carry the heavy responsibilities like the dark clouds. They carry heavy water. So they are like the elderly gentlemen who have white hair, who get that white hair, carefree. So if you're worried about losing your hair color, then be carefree, as it's given here. Be free from anxiety of maintaining home, wife, children, all the busy family responsibilities. So that's that one. Any comments or thoughts on that one? Questions? The next one is, sometimes in autumn the falls come down from the top of hills, yeah, and sometimes they don't. In the same way, saintly people, sometimes they distribute knowledge and sometimes they're silent. Okay, any thoughts on that one? Questions on that one?
Is it a, sorry.
No, sorry. You carry on.
Is it a time, place, and circumstances?
Yeah. And Mataji, what were you going to say?
I was going to say why. Why do they they distribute clear knowledge and sometimes they're silent? Because great saintly persons are supposed to distribute knowledge for the welfare of all the living beings. So that was my question, really.
Okay. And Satyanarayan Prabhu has very eloquently answered it in 3 words.
Yeah.
Prabhu, could you elaborate a little bit more? Time, place, and circumstance. Knowledge is given according to time, place, and circumstance. Prabhu, please, if you'd like to share some more.
Time, can I say, difficult to put in a words actually. I understand, but or give example.
It's
amazing that you just knew the answer like instantly.
Yeah.
Time is like, sometimes even gurus and sannyasi, other sannyasis, somebody gives you just there's no time, they're just teaching you for a few minutes and they just point out a couple of things. Are you chanting your rounds, Krishna? Are you doing extra rounds? Are you doing, reading Prabhupada book or something like that, or something else if it's in your mind? His mind, he would ask you because he doesn't have time to preach you at that time, longer things. So that's time and circumstance consider as well.
Yeah.
And the place where he's met you, he can't give you everything in or everywhere. It has to be a place as well. And when he comes
Yeah.
to give a lecture properly, then he preaches.
Yeah. That's it. So
Also,
in
place
terms of
means
time, place. Yeah.
place means what kind of people you are preaching to.
Yes, exactly.
Congregation.
According to congregation, he has to say, and who is around you as well.
Yeah, the circumstances, yeah, are different, but depending on who's in the room.
Yeah.
How much you can handle. How much can you handle? So yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. The example I thought of was, have you heard this phrase? You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. You can't force the horse to drink. You know? Have you heard that phrase before? It basically means like you can give someone something, but if they're not going to take it, then there's only so much you can do. So the time, place, circumstance, everything is based on this Kalapatra Desha, time, place, circumstance. That according to whatever situation you're in, you give the right amount, the right time. So as Mataji nicely said in her example, that if the person doesn't have the capacity to take on so much, they're just given exactly what they need. Sometimes all that's needed is a smile, and that can work wonders. When you receive the transcendental glance of a pure devotee, it can change your life. So powerful is the saintly person. They can just simply by looking at you change your life. They don't even have to say anything.
Yeah, like I've just been reading the new book come out by Prabhupada's daughters, disciples, but daughters,
Women disciples.
female disciple. And in there, it's like some of them haven't met, or they have just got one glance or one smile, Prabhupada's just for a second. And that has just converted their life. Oh, Papa smiled at me and just said, "How are you?" That was all they needed, and that their life is rotating around there. That they understood what he was trying to say. We say sometimes, even gurus, and they come out, they just give you a smile. It might not be looking at you where the crowd is, other at the airport or anywhere else like that. But you might feel like he did look at me and smiled at me. So that's really sometimes so much when either regress or something or you wanted something, and that fulfills your life desire, that, okay, no, he cares for me.
That's
So
the thing that comes across, isn't it? This person is full of love.
yeah, love, exchange of love.
And there's actually hundreds of stories like this, hundreds of stories of Prabhupada disciples where actions speak louder than words. Yeah? Does that answer your question, Smita Mataji?
Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on swiftly then. So there's a few more examples here. We'll see if we can finish in the next few minutes. And then we'll have a round of chanting japa. So the next one I picked up here. Small ponds are filled with water, but then they dry up. Yeah. And so materially engrossed persons, they don't realize that the duration of life also dries up or diminishes very quickly. We think we have very long lives to accomplish so many things, and we build on desires and build on desires and build up desires. But actually, life is very short, like a small pond of water which dries up. So, an unintelligent person doesn't recognize that life is short. Then the next one, so is about due to reduce water and the scorching heat. Yeah. Again, this is a similar example. So small creatures living in a reservoir become very disturbed. So when the ponds they dry up, then the small animals who lived in those ponds, they also become disturbed. Similarly, in our life, in our little pond, let's say, if something doesn't go to plan, we become very disturbed. But we don't see the bigger picture. Yeah? That it's inevitable that certain things will happen, and we don't see why or how, what the greater plan is, because we're so engrossed in just life in that little pond. But there is a bigger picture, a bigger plan, Krishna's plan. So any thoughts or questions on that one? Okay, then the last one is the muddy earth which dries up due to the heat. Yeah, it dries up just the way that someone who takes to Krishna consciousness, their desires for enjoying family gradually dries up. Yeah. So someone who comes to Krishna, they don't think that their family will fulfill all their desires. They understand who can actually fulfill their desires is Krishna. So they don't place all their hopes, as Queen Kunti prays, I think it was in the prayers of Queen Kunti, maybe elsewhere, that these placing our faith in family and in society and so on is like placing our faith, like a king who places his faith in fallible soldiers, soldiers who are weak. So Krishna, if we place our faith in Krishna, Krishna is known as Achyuta, or infallible. Krishna will never fail us. Whereas on the other hand, if we place our faith in people or things which are limited, they have a limited ability to give, then our expectations are going to fall short, isn't it? So here, like the muddy earth, it dries up because when a person comes to Krishna, those expectations, they dry up. The desire to serve is there, but the desire to expect in return is not. It's gone. Isn't that amazing? That someone's capacity to serve is still there, but their desire to gain is gone. So this is this last example in this paragraph. Any thoughts or comments on that, just as we finish? I know this was quite a detailed and philosophical session, so thanks for sticking through.
That's why we always talk about desire and a strong desire. Because if our desire is not strong enough, it dries up, it goes away.
If our desire is not strong, then it goes away.
To serve the Lord, yeah.
Yeah, that's another example. Yeah, different example to this, but yeah, also applicable, isn't it? So yeah.
But if you have a strong desire, then even Krishna helps you to fulfill that desire as well.
Okay. So someone might ask then, how do you develop strong desire? How do you develop that, Prabhu?
Association.
Yeah, that's right. So actually, I was doing a class on last Friday. We're talking about New Year's resolutions, and someone told me it's really hard for me to keep a vow, to keep a resolution. And they were asking me like, how do you keep a vow in that way? So I had the same thought as well, that if you are with people who are good at something, they have that vow to do it, then you will also rub off on you. Association. So be with the people who you want to be like is the way. Yeah. So if you want to have a strong desire for Krishna, be with people who have a strong desire.
Even in the association, very important to make a progress, you associate with higher than you in a consciousness.
Yeah. So with Krishna consciousness, if we want to be advanced, then we have to be with those who are advanced. Okay. Okay, so thank you everyone for your wonderful contributions, your comments, your questions, your corrections. It's been a wonderful evening with you all. And Shashi Mataji, hope you feel better soon. Thanks for joining as well. Despite, everyone has so many things to do at the moment, busy lives, taking the time out just to discuss the Krishna Katha, is like a central theme in your life. It's really appreciated. And it's ultimately going to be beneficial for us as a Sangha, as a collective group, as well as individually, isn't it? We're all benefiting from it individually and collectively.
Learning
so nice
from
to
each
see.
others.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I personally learned so much from this group, so I'm really appreciative, really grateful to you all. Okay, so now we're going to chant one round of japa together.